There's an old saying that says, walk a mile in another person's shoes, and it basically means so you can understand who they truly are without passing judgment. Baseball News Club presents The Journey of Yasiel Puig. I'm going to need you to follow, subscribe, please like, and comment on the video. When it comes to understanding someone or a player, you have to understand where they came from. We look at Puig today as a wild horse or a player who has issues, who's always causing problems, but let's walk a mile in his shoes. Puig comes from a situation that involves murder, gangs, Fidel Castro, threats against Puig's family, all types of attempts to escape Cuba, and much, much more. See, baseball in Cuba is a big deal. They have a School of Sports Initiator and also the ESPAs, where they raise children to be sports athletes, specifically sometimes baseball. Now, when Puig was young, he was known as crazy or screw around. He was a goofy kid. But at some point, he realized his value and how good he was, and Major League Baseball also realized that too. He was approached numerous times, and because of the threat of being thrown in jail, tortured, or whatnot, he one time alerted the sports ministry of someone who approached him, offering him to get him out of Cuba. That person actually went to jail, and subsequently later, that person filed a federal lawsuit versus Puig and his mother that he was tortured while he was in jail because of Puig going to the sports ministry. So for Puig, who do you trust? It's very hard. You're getting approached by people all the time. You don't know if they are good or bad people to help you out, and he wants to leave Cuba, just like a lot of other players who've defected to get to America to play Major League Baseball. In Cuba, you've got Fidel Castro. It's a communist nation. He gets paid $17 per month to play baseball. So on June 2012, he left Cuba with 3 others to get to America. But unfortunately, he had to go through the route of human traffickers, usually drug cartels, Los Gatos, and it's a very shady and dangerous business. So as opposed to going north from Cuba into Florida, they went towards Mexico. The United States of America Treasury states you must establish residence in a third country before coming to America because they look at it, if you're coming from Cuba, we're trading with the enemy. Puig landed in Mexico and hung out in a hotel for a while. There was a small-time crook named Raul Pacheco in Florida who offered $250,000 to the smugglers, and then with Puig, his deal was, I get 20% once you get to the show. But calls were going back and forth, and Raul Pacheco was not answering the call, was upsetting the traffickers. They were actually threatening at one point to use a machete to cut off body parts. Calls were going back and forth, Pacheco not answering, so the traffickers decided they're going to charge a daily rate of $20,000 to $30,000 for not paying the fee. Pacheco sent almost up to $30,000 to help Puig escape with at least 5 attempts. So on June 2012, Puig boarded a boat, landed, and hid out. Smugglers charging daily, threats of his life being ended. 3 weeks of negotiation, Logan White from the LA Dodgers, he's the VP of Amateur Scouting, learned about this, drove on down to Mexico, and ended up smuggling Puig over to the United States. Puig had to learn to drive, eating at Denny's every day because he never had that luxury in Cuba. But the smugglers still wanted their cut, so they continued to make threats to people in the United States, including Puig and his family back in Cuba. Now, according to an affidavit, Puig paid a lot to get to America. He paid Pacheco $300,000, $400,000 to $500,000 to Alberto Farinas, $600,000 to Miami lawyers, and paid also personally with the threats to his life. The odd thing is the traffickers weren't done. They still wanted their money. They were still making threats. The lead smuggler was found dead in Cuba after numerous threats to Puig. But for Puig, he came from darkness and ended up coming out the end into the light. Playing for Major League Baseball, playing the dream. He went through hell, risked his life, risked his family's life, but came out on the end. True American dream. So no matter what you think of Puig, love him or hate him, keep in mind, some of us come from a very interesting background, and now that you know his background, maybe you'll look different upon Puig. He is good for baseball. Yes, he's a wild horse. Yes, he's got issues. Sometimes he's not the best ball player on teams, but he's still a human being. He's still very talented. He still has a lot in the tank. And I look forward to Puig in the next 5 to 8 years playing baseball. Thank you very much for watching Baseball News Club.